What up, Miss Village? I missed you. It's good to see you. I figured I'd reach out. I wanted to say, I'll wait till people are here for a second, but I'm gonna do, so I just got some new books in, so some of the massive amounts of, orders that I haven't been able to do, I'm gonna sort of hop on to. I see the first people are here. It's good to see you. I wanted to say before we did anything else that I really appreciate the words that you guys put out for Kamel. Kamel passed, and it's been a couple days, so I'm okay now. And honestly, like I said, before I say anything else, thank you guys for the donations for their kids. Thank you for thank you for thinking about me in light of their tragedy. I appreciate that. We'll get into all the fun stuff like we normally do, but I thought I'd share that I was actually kind of surprised how bothered I was, when I heard that he died. I've seen fair amount of death in my personal life, and I saw way more in the hospital. I was even, that guy that they called in the hospital when there was bad news to be given, because it didn't ever really faze me. It's like, this is an unfortunate thing that happened. I always thought that when people were feeling adrift, what they would really need is strength. So I would go in, I would give them the information. I would tell them that, I was sorry, and I would mean it. And then I would tell them that, the sun was going to rise the next day, that they were lucky that, there were family around, because I've seen a lot of people where they didn't have anyone around. And I would go on with my day. And so it kind of surprised me that when I heard about Kamel, we'd met once or twice. We talked plenty of times over the years. But it really bothered me, and I didn't really understand why, because even my friends the people that know me, personally, will tell you that, I'm the guy you ask when you really want to know the answer. I don't pull the punches, I let you know. I figure there's plenty of people to kiss your ass. You might want someone that can just give you the straight up honest dope. So I was like, why did this affect me so much? And I realized it's because it was just needless. He's just and Kamel was just a good dude, it's a small thing to say that someone's just a good dude, but I've met a lot of dudes, and it's honestly one of the best compliments to give. He was just a good person, and he didn't deserve that, and it was completely unnecessary because some D-bag didn't want to spend $20 on an Uber, right? He bought him, took 2 lives. It's $10 a pop. Anyway. I wanted to say I really appreciate you guys, coming out. I saw that people left messages like the Miss Village is here for you on the GoFundMe and everything, and that means a lot. I've told you guys before that it's amazing that I've been able to find my tribe. It's really great that we can have fun together, but it also really means a lot to me that we've raised, the money that we've raised for charity, and this is just another example of that. So I just want to say y'all are amazing. You made me very proud to be part of this community, and I appreciate you. So. Okay. I figured I would, do the thing that I've been doing. I got the new books in, and hopefully I can get to some of these massive number of orders that I have not been able to do because the artwork was messed up. And I figured I'd talk to you guys in the meantime and, answer any questions that worked, and, shrapnel popcorn the rest of you bad boys and... and all that. Not for the first time. I wish that I would not get flagged for copyright issues by playing some music, because I really just feel like, this vibe would be great with some Beastie Boys and or perhaps recently relevant, DMX or hell, even some Tatiana Manawa. Man, that lady's got some skills. But anyway... I figured I'd reach out. I figured I'd say what's up. I figured I'd sign some of these books and send them out to you wonderful people that have been somewhat patiently, somewhat not patiently waiting, and all that. I also figured I'd see if you guys had any questions, I'd answer them, but I'd also sort of just, I used to do the blog more, and then I realized that, nobody was really looking at it. But then I saw that Iona Andrews, she writes her blogs and then she posts them like on Facebook, and I figure I might start doing that as well because I get a lot of questions from you guys that are, sort of more common, that a lot of you guys have. And so I used to write these blogs to answer them, and like I said, nobody ever knew it was there. And also there were just people that were like, hey, don't like your face, the trolls. So but one of the things that she talked about, and I responded to her because I thought this was just sort of a great answer, and I honestly feel like it can work in all of your lives. She said, are there trolls? Are there people that come for you in the writing community? Blah blah blah. And her answer was yes. But what I loved about it is that it didn't hem and haw and talk about this and talk about that. It just sort of clearly put, like, some people are batshit. Some people are just rude. Some people literally almost medically lack social graces, and so they come across as horrible and or are horrible. And some people are just mean. And I'm sure that every single one of you, every single person on earth, comes across people that are just like, they just seem like they're coming for you. They just seem like they're just trying to, like, get at you. You're like, why? Like, it doesn't make a logical sense why this person is messing with me. And I had to sort of, I sort of tried to wrap my head around that for the first couple of years as I was a writer, dealing with other writers that, just had, crappy personalities and whatever. Like, there's definitely some cool ones, shout out to Dakota, shout out to James Hunter, just solid, normal dudes. I mean, Dakota's like seriously the sweetest guy in the world. He's like dipped in candy, but like James, just a cool, normal dude, I can just talk to him. And there's other people as well. But then I would sort of get into it with other people, and I'd be like, well, why is this? Am I doing something wrong? Is there something that I'm putting out there that's sort of like driving people crazy or blah, blah, blah? And I think it's good to sort of have that introspection to a certain extent. Because if you are doing something just sort of rude or whatever, like if the whole world is telling you the same thing, it's worth at least listening and then introspecting. But also there are just a lot of people that just, they just got hate in their heart. They just wake up on the wrong side of the bed every day. They are just dealing with some stuff and they just can't see the light anymore. And, it has nothing to do with you, honestly. You're just in their path. If it wasn't you, it'd be somebody else. And when I realized that, when I stopped taking it personally, so much, right? It really felt free, Now, I'm not saying that that's something that you can, just sort of do, right? Emotions do not work like that. Emotions and intellectual considerations and reasoning are antithetical almost to sometimes. I always say that you cannot explain somebody's emotional reaction through logic. It's just not the coin of the realm. But I do think that by starting to sort of understand that, like, these people that are coming at you, the dude at work that just keeps getting under your skin, the lady in your neighborhood that just will not shut up about HOA stuff, any of that kind of thing, just realize that it's not really about you. It's about the fact that they're so unhappy or so dissatisfied or so lost in their own lives that they don't know a better or nicer way to interact, right? And I think that, I don't know, just sort of letting go of the responsibility for other people's actions is a very healthy thing to do, and something that I see come up in questions that people ask me through emails and stuff like that. So if that sunk for some of y'all, great. If I'm just rambling for the rest of y'all and you want to know about book 9, I apologize. And I will now tell you about book 9. But I just thought I'd share that in case there were any other, adrift souls that might be able to benefit from that kind of catharsis. So yeah. So anyway, as I said, book 9, got a little dribblage there. I am still hoping for June. There is one or two family things that have come up, but I am working hard every day, and I'm still hoping for June. I am still leaning on it being mayhem. It seems like very apropos for the book. And yeah, and then again, I'm hoping for God's Eye. I'm hoping for God's Eye to come out in September as well, and possibly in December. Either, probably not 10, maybe God's Eye 3 or the first book in a new series that I've been toying around with for a while. Like I said before, And the secret project that I've been working on, the secret projects that I've been working on, like I said, are still getting very close to fruition. I had a couple of hiccups, but I think I'm going to be able to, I still think I'm going to be able to share it with you in about the next month and a half. So that's going to be absolutely awesome. And, yeah. So, it's enough jibba jabba from Aleron. Let me give some shout outs. Andrew Gainez, Michael Portillo, you rock. Lucy Rutner, Karaskova, love the name. Hello. Mike Calandrino, Success Breeds Envy. Just in a Yoda voice. Success breeds envy. Envy breeds anger. Anger leads to hate. Yeah, okay. Then, screw you guys. That is spot on, Yoda. Appreciate you. And Law Miller says it's not paranoia if it's out to get you. I absolutely believe that. Of course, they only say that paranoid people, say that, but we can smell our own. We know what's going on, Law. Appreciate you. And it looks like Dakota Kraut is watching the stream. I take it back, you cuddly bastard of beautifulness. He's just a good dude. He really is. I mean, too many puns. Oh my God. But he is a good dude and a good writer. But God, the puns. All right, let's see. Oh, and as always, guys, thank you for the stars. I will be using those to do, as I always say, primarily charity, then advertising in a way that isn't just throwing money down a black hole, which seems like all advertising is, and then the rest of it artwork, which you will be so happy with some of the artwork that's coming out. It's really, really awesome. So, let's see. Let me give a shout out to Daniel DeBailey. You've been here from the beginning, buddy. One of the very first of them. Village. Appreciate you and appreciate all of y'all. All right. So, any questions that I can answer for you guys? As we keep doing our thing, as we keep moving on. Anything happening here? All right, there's a lot of love for Dakota here. All right, you guys are really leaning heavily on the pun button. It's all right, be it on your heads. Let's see. People want the next murder hobo. Yeah, get on that, DK. But yeah, man. Things are good here in Georgia. I've been doing a lot of walks. Like, I don't know if you guys know. I mean, Georgia's, we got our problems. We're not really so much about book learning, sadly speaking. Too many people that don't believe COVID even exists. But, we got good weather. Around this time of year, if you guys are ever going to come to Atlanta, this is a good time of year to come because, like the entire city, the Japanese call it the city of trees. It's got more trees than you can shake a stick at. And a lot of them are flowering. And this is the time of the year where basically all the flowers all around Atlanta bloom. And yes, there's just an insane amount of pine gum. It's just yellow. That's gross. But there's also an insane amount of flowers and like the literal air everywhere you go smells sweet. So I've been going on a lot of hikes and just sort of enjoying the nature, checking that out, learning a little bit more about mushrooms and whatnot. It's very, very cool. Anyway, I totally recommend it. COVID is real. Wear a mask, please, and get a shot. But yeah, all right. So let me see if I can answer any of these questions that are coming in. All right. Somebody asked about the caravan. Boom. That is you guys know what to do. Aaron says, how do you make time for it all? It's a very good question as far, especially from the writing thing, right? There are a lot of writers that are like, oh, okay, it's time to wake up. It's time to write my 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 words a day. It is what they do. It is how they work. There's other authors that are like, okay, well, I've got my outline. I mean, Sanderson, he's like a machine that way. I literally don't know if it's just his brain or he's got a massive team or what. But if you go on his website, it's like, hey, these are the 5, phone book size books that I'm working on. This one's at 31%. This one's at 72%. He's got like a whole thing and he stays true to it. He's a machine. My process is way more organic. I always know where I want to go in a story. I always have an idea about the path that I'm going to take to get somewhere in a story. But one of the most exciting things for me is when I think that I'm going to be going from point A to point B, and then it'll be a straight line, right? Instead, it's this sort of weaving, wending kind of, thing that I do that as I'm like writing the story. I will listen to the characters and the backstory that I have in the mind, the endless stuff that I've prepared that I never even shared with you guys. And if it sounds false, like the way that, like, when like you're with a loved one or somebody or a friend that you've known for a long time, you can feel that there's something a little bit off in what somebody says. I don't push that. I write what would sound right in their voice and what would be true and honest for them. Which is one of the biggest criticisms that some people have from my books. They're like, "Oh my God, this guy's an idiot." And I'm like, yeah, we're all kind of idiots sometimes. And then, sometimes he is a little bit of an idiot, and that's true to his, sort of thing. He's not a perfect, sort of hero. And that was always something that I tried really, really hard to keep in the authenticity. And I think it's part of one of the reasons some of you guys love it. So for me, I will wake up, I will start writing. If I am not feeling it, I'll play some Civ, or I'll go for a walk, or I'll take a nap, or, I've gotten really into like artisanal sandwiches recently, like just really trying to like make that happen. Mwah, bell peppers, awesome. Banana peppers, even better, with a little bit of red wine vinaigrette. So like, I just try to get into different things. I try to talk to new people. I try to listen to new, podcasts that I find that are interesting and stimulating. And I basically just think that like the more that I pour into me, right, the more that I can then pour into the page and share with you. And I just try to like, I don't know, I guess honor that process and not try to force it. And that is why I have to push back dates sometimes. There are definitely benefits to just be in the machine, but that is not my path. It's not that I can't do it, like medical school, I had to grind that out, but I'm happier this way, and I guess I just sort of feel that like, even if, it's not quite as machine-like, if I'm happier, that's going to come across in the page. One of my favorite compliments that you guys give me is like, I can tell that you enjoyed writing the scene, and I do. And as long as I do that, then, we're going to keep rocking and rolling. I mean, I guess if there was any artist that, that I'd say was, I was modeling myself after, it'd have to be the, Sir Bruce Campbell, Army of Darkness style, like, once you make Army of Darkness 3, I mean, what else do you really have to do? And he's still rocking and rolling. And I love the unapologetic ridiculousness of it. And, I love that my tribe loves it too. So that's how I roll. All right. So that was Aleron Lathrop Verities. That was a very, very serious name. Veritably. Yeah. All right. So Mitch Van Winkle says, want to play Civ 6. I would love to play Civ 6, but that is one of the ways that I do manage my time. Like, I played a little Civ 4 earlier today, and, I played for 1 hour because, anyone that's played Civ knows, that's a month of your life gone. So I limit myself to that. And I don't play like online with other people anymore. One, because, whenever someone starts losing, they just jump off, and it's like, I'm really good at Civ, and so everyone's always losing, so people are always jumping off, and it's like, I don't want to do that. But also, yeah, I'm trying to get the work done, trying to get some of this face off my face by exercising. So yeah. Anyway. Okay, so let me see what else I can say. All right, so Harvey Tiger Fields, it says the third series, is it Nick or Luke? I'm going to read the audiobook. So Nick will be the voice of the land, right? Luke will be the voice of God's Eye. If I have a third series, I will probably find another amazing author to do that. Partly because, I don't want an overlap. I don't want people writing asinine things like, oh, Ruby sounds like Richter. But also, I think that the more sort of energy and sort of professionalism that I can share with other masters of their craft, right, the more sort of unique things that I can create, right? Like, Nick is amazing, obviously. And I don't think that the Land audiobooks would have ever been what they were with anybody else, But part of that is a major part of it is his skill. But also, it's that, the very first time we spoke, I'm like, yo, I'm really impressed by what you do. But just so you know, I need someone that wants to be a partner, that wants to, work together, that wants to bounce ideas off each other. I want this to be something better than either one of us could do alone. And if that's not how you work, then it's not whatever. And he was like, well, just so you know, I need a partner. I need to talk about stuff. I need to do whatever. And it was a great, refreshing change for those of you that don't know, I had already recorded book 1 once, and I said to the guy, I'm like, oh, so do you want to read the book first and then maybe ask me questions? He's like, look, dude, give me a check. I'll give you a book. I don't care. What do you want to do this or not? So it was a very big change. Yeah. And so as long as I can find more people that can get excited about a work and get excited about a project and can sort of, we can sort of bounce our energy and bounce our creativity off of each other, I think we're going to make something really, really cool. I still stand to this day. Yes, George R. R. Martin is a great author, but oh my God, he did not envision Khaleesi just the way she looks. I'm sorry. That lady, I like a little more weight on a lady, but oof, I'm not made of wood here. I'm just saying, without Aquaman being Khal Drogo, I just don't think it would have popped off nearly as much as it could have been, So I think that when you can work with other good people, then you get something better than you ever could have thought, and there's no shame in that. And so yeah, if I work with a new series, it'll be with a new narrator. I have made a list because I've worked with artists, and oh my God, working with artists is like herding cats that can talk and are basically artists. It is very difficult, because you'll be like, hey, so, I want, so anyway, my main character is black, and they give you like a white character, and you're like, well, that was my vision. And I'm like, but he's not, he's black. Anyway, communication is the very most important thing that's important to me when I work with another artist. After that is reliability. You want someone that, is professional enough to get the job done when you need it done. And then after that is artistic creativity, right? And then way down here is artistic skill. Because I feel like if you're handling these first three, then, the artistic skill, while very necessary, right? It can sort of fill in any gaps. But if you put artistic skill at the first, and then you're sort of like butting heads, or the artist is resentful because you kids keep going back and forth, or, they're not really able to deliver, and so everything's sort of, delayed, blah, blah, blah. Like, it just becomes an unhappy and unfulfilled thing. And it's like, if that's what you're feeding into your project, then that's what you're going to get out of your project. So yeah, that's my answer. Yeah. Dustin Bauman wants to know, are we far into the story? So I will say what I've said before. So when I first started writing the book, I wrote the ending of The Land first. And it was because I did not want to be like a certain sea captain-y looking author who I literally mentioned 5 minutes ago, who didn't know how his story was going to end. And to keep things fresh, I wrote 5 major arcs that would turn the story on their head. And this is before I'd ever written a book. And I thought, man, maybe I'll get to an arc every 2 to 3 books. And I am confidently saying that after 8 books, we have made it a 10th of the way to the first major arc that I had planned. Because I write a lot of words. I make words good. That's what I do. So, again, Aleron isn't for everybody. I get it, People like my dad, we watched the first Lord of the Rings, and I think he hadn't read it in 60 years. And, it just sort of ends with him walking, and he stood up in the middle of the theater and was like, what the fuck was that? Jesus. Mad loud, like really, really loud. He likes a nice, just sort of, beginning, middle, and end. That's how he rolls. And a lot of writers, the hero's journey, it is very, like you go from this, you go to 1 to 2 to 3 to blah, blah. And that was just never my thing. I like the chaos, as you guys can tell. I like the inanity of life. I like the fact that people can come into your life for a moment and then you can reconnect, or you can not, or, whatever. And I like that in my stories. I like keeping people guessing. I like that people are like, but what about this quest? And I'm like, well, that quest just isn't done yet. They're like, well, are you lying to me? And I'm like, maybe I am, because I'm Aleron. And that's how I roll. But no, I mean, I like to keep people guessing. I don't like it to be boring. And the payoff of that, as with anyone in life, is that it can be frustrating. I'm a frustrating person sometimes. I take it to the bank, and I hope that you guys will keep rocking with me. All right. Let me see. All right. Corey Parker. Hey, yo. Good to see you. Yeah, allergies do suck. I'm not going to lie. I like Claritin on tap. And Robert Cerquiera. Good job in getting them shots. Awesome. And Brennan Hatcher. Glad you made it here. Good to see you. And let's see. And Chris Timball, first time you ever caught a live. Glad you're here, sir. And okay, so Benjamin Byers invited me to Duluth for bubble tea. I do love bubble tea, but I will tell you, I got my own tapioca balls here, man. I make my own boba. That's how I roll. And I don't like tea. Don't hate me. I'm Asian and Southern. I know it's a weird thing. It's okay. You know, you're not going to say anything that I haven't heard. But no, I'm not. I don't like tea. So I make boba smoothies. You know, with the mango and the passion fruit and the strawberries. All right. Let's see. Brittany Rudick says, will we be giving more background on Randy? Yes, you will be seeing more background on Randy. Randy is a crucial part of major series arcs. Absolument. You know, we're going to see a bunch of that. Randy, if you guys did not know, is actually based on a real life Randy. After I went to residency, after I graduated from residency, I started seeing a life coach therapist, for about a year and a half. And for the very simple reason that, I don't know, I felt like there were some things that I needed to figure out, and I did. And he's the one that encouraged me to start writing books for the first time. So I thought, what better way to do an homage for the person that made the Mist Village possible than to make him the guy that keeps the Mist Village running. And I sent him the book, and I'm like, hey, man, I really appreciate you. I just wanted to let you know that this is this. And he writes back, next time you appreciate someone, don't put him in charge of the shitter. He's a wise man. Anyway, so yeah, there will be more Randy coming because Randy's awesome. That's why. Okay. Let me see what else I got. Melvin Martinez says, I think you know how you really changed a lot of our lives and given us a lot of a home in the land. I appreciate that, dude. When I first started writing, I never thought anybody would ever read it. I literally had a fantasy that, I don't know, like, you know, ideally, many years into the future, I would have died. And, you know, I would have a little, grandkid that would be poking around in my shit, looking to see if there's anything he could sell. And he would find like an old, you know, maybe Adidas. God, I can't believe that guy was a Nazi. Anyway, an old shoebox that had my first manuscript in it. And he would read it and be like, wow, this is really cool. And then maybe he would pick it up and maybe whatever. And then when he was being interviewed on Oprah's grandkids show, he would be like, I actually found this in my granddad's, you know, thing. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, I never imagined that I would be able to connect with so many just sort of awesome people around the world. I never imagined that it would, you know, give me another career after I'd spent 15 years becoming a physician. I never imagined that I would be able to have a positive impact in the way that I did in other people's lives. And I don't forget that, you know, like it's really humbling, but it's like a really good way to like humble me and just remind me like that I'm a part of something greater than myself. And so I appreciate you saying that. You rock. All right. Let's see. Susie does not like it when characters go off on unplanned adventures. But I'm not worried because Susie has stuck with me through many things that she has not liked. And I'm still happy you're here, Susie. Okay. Okay. All right, some people. All right, is there any chance that the Noise in the Dark 2 being completed before? So it's possible, but I do believe, you know, it has to happen now. Anthony Bernard Davis. Okay. Chris, good to see you. I hope your finger healed well. I'm very proud that you are the latest in the Tattoos of the Mist fellowship. So that's awesome. Yeah. Okay. Those are some signed books. Let's see. Are we going to learn more about tears? You are going to learn more about tears, and that was vague enough that you will not get popcorned. Okay, so Charles Barber, though, God, this guy wants some kettle corn. Will Richter ever meet up with Zero Fell? Get him. Okay. I'm going to throw out a gnome's rule to Robert Sequeira. All right, let's see. Bum, bum, bum. And I appreciate it, Chris. Thank you. All right, so let's see. Tim Nicholson is saying, how much research do you do and how do you do it? As an author, you touch on a lot of different topics, blacksmithing, botany, etc. You sort of need to have a decent understanding. I do. So, I mean, I read a lot of books. I mean, first of all. But also, I reach out to people that sort of like walk the walk in the various things that I want to go into, and also people that are, sort of recognized as experts in the field. Like when I was making the sort of magic system that dealt with like, the two scholars, Bartle and B. I looked into like various types of ink. I looked into sort of the progression and how, quills and, how that sort of, faded out into like, more metallic. And then one of my friends does calligraphy. And I asked her, I'm like, hey, so what are the things that you feel like make a good calligrapher? Because if there's things that sort of differentiate like various people in a field, right, then those are, sort of points that you can look at to create, like a leveling up or, sort of differentiation system. There are other times where like, when I was writing the mining stuff, I joined a bunch of like mining groups on Facebook and learned that, man, they are just some of the most foul-mouthed human beings ever. like real talk. Like, the kind, yeah, I mean, just absolutely foul. Like, I don't want to get kicked off of Facebook for repeating it. So talking to them and, honestly, just sort of learning, one of the things that I learned is that like all of my questions that would deal with like a fantasy mining thing have nothing to do with mining. I mean, oh my God, it's all like heavily industrial, and there's a lot of skill that goes along with it. It requires like, bravery and risk on the part of the operators, but it's night and day. You cannot, they shouldn't even both be called mining. It is night and day. So in that, I've had to reach out to, people in historical medieval, sort of societies. I reached out to, people that, sort of were metallurgists or people that actually that practice blacksmithing in their backyard, or, professionals that, sort of do it and, do it on a large scale. And so, I just try to educate myself, and I never try to then say like, I am now a professional in this, right? Because I'm not. But I feel like if you can get like, little nuances of something, then it adds a lot of realism, adds a lot of fun to it, and it might spark somebody else's curiosity to then go look up more stuff, and then you're a more interesting person when you come to a dinner party. So that's how I do it. And then sometimes, when people are like, well, when you really think about the fact that, the land is the size of Jupiter, and how are we dealing with the fact that, the spin of it, if we're just talking about a day, why doesn't it have a day that's, 400? And I'm like, magic. Okay, just magic nerds. Sometimes you just gotta let it go. So that's how we do it. Okay. So Jacques Voss says, what's been your favorite sandwich? I'm gonna stand by. I cannot answer that on Facebook. Okay, this is James Walker says this is the first live video I've gotten to see. Usually you see it after. Love your work. Appreciate you, James. You rock. And appreciate all of you guys. Again, I say it. I never can get tired of saying it. Thank you guys for all the support. Thank you for all the wonderful reviews. If you haven't left a review, please leave one either on the ebook or the audiobook. And also, to keep the trolls at bay, it really, really helps to click like on reviews that you agree with. So, appreciate you. Appreciate you. All right, let me see. Jeremy Jordan, good to see you. It's been a while. I'm glad you're still kicking. Clint Simons, good to see you. I'm glad you guys liked the artwork for book 7, the Mauler versus the giant skeleton. Yeah, it was pretty. It came out good. I was very impressed. Like, I'm just so like, I follow a lot of artists on Instagram, and I am just always blown away. I'm blown away just by the massive fascination with breasts. I mean, I love them, but God, they love them. But then once you sort of scroll past those 95 pictures, there are also just people that, oh my God, like the things that they can create, the things that they create literally almost on a daily basis. It's just like, how do human beings have that proficient level of skill? They are literally masters, grand masters of their craft. It is awesome. So yeah, I reached out to one of the dudes. It took a couple months to create, but I was so happy with it, and I'm glad that you guys really loved it too. That's awesome. And I make it for you guys. It's I want you to know that I appreciate you. So Aaron says get a woman reader. If I write a female lead, I will get a woman reader. That just makes sense. If I don't, then I won't, because that also just makes sense, in my opinion. Okay. Let's see. All right. So now there's a lot of people trying to tell me which narrator. I promise you, he will be a famous narrator. He'll be good. All right. Man, there's a lot of recommendations for narrators on here. Okay. Let's see. Shots fired. There's a prophecy. All right. I missed a lot. Okay. Yeah, so Brian Kello made a quote. I make words good. Aleron. Yeah, no, I do. It's, I stand by that. Hannah Belial says, I love your book so much. I love that you read them. Appreciate you. You rock. Let's see. And Lord of the Rings is a great end. A lot of story to Grey Heavens. Yeah, true. If we're going to talk about, let's talk about old books that we love. So first of all, Lone Wolf, obviously. Joe Dever rocks. Awesome maps. Anne McCaffrey, Dragon Riders. Burn. Margaret Wise. Also, Anne McCaffrey is amazing. The game handle that I usually use is Nevin. Going back to the old Greenies. That is great. Man, old things. I mean, obviously we can talk about Dragonlance, obviously. The older stuff. Yeah. Octavia Butler. I still say she's just the greatest wordsmith ever. She was just amazing. Like her mind, the pathways of evolution that she was thinking about, that we're seeing sort of pop up in a lot of popular culture, from like movies to books and whatever. Now she was one of the very first people to sort of deal with that and look at it from a very practical standpoint. It wasn't like a magic system that didn't just upturns everything. It was a magic system that fits within the framework of the world that we're in now. I very much wish that she was alive, because I feel like my style is similar, and I wish that I could just sort of like learn at her feet, to be quite honest. She was amazing. I mean, there's just so many, like, the Five Rings, not the Book of Five Rings, the old, war manual, Art of War manual, by Sun Tzu. But, like, just these old, God, I can't remember who wrote them, but, like these just old 5 ratty paperbacks about variant evolution and sort of our reliance on AI that were just absolutely amazing and changed my life. Obviously, Raymond D. Feist. Shout out to Terry Goodkind, who we lost last year. Didn't love all the books, but certainly think that Wizard's First Rule was just really eloquently placed into words, something I had been feeling for a long time and didn't know how to say before him. God, I mean, there's just so many amazing wordsmiths that have come about. That's another thing. Like, it's just, it's a literal point of pride that I can sort of count myself somewhere among their number. It feels good to know that I'm adding to the gestalt of what we are as a species, in that way. Because I love books, because I'm a nerd. That's how I roll. And it's nice to be able to share it with y'all. So yeah. All right. I feel like I'm running out of steam here. So let me see, what I can answer for people. I'm going to see if I can skip to the end. Sorry if I'm missing anybody. Boom. Are there going to be more Chaos Seeds in the next book? Yes, Mikey. And you know what? I'm gonna let it slide, Mikey, because that's the little bit of spoiled cheese. Interior Raymond, I saw your picture. You were rocking that Miss Village shirt. Appreciate you. And David Kaplan, first live show, awesome. Kaplan took way too much of my money. Screw you. And all right, I'm gonna skip. Wow, I missed a lot of comments. All right. There will always be more Alma. Chris, you're timeless. Ari Salvatore is also just an amazing writer. Kind of cool guy, too. I've been able to talk to him once or twice. And, yeah. All right. So, I'm going to head out. I appreciate you. Thank you guys so much for reaching out to Kamel and his family and helping out. Thanks for being on this journey with me. We will talk more often. Be good to each other. Peace, love, for Margarita.